Hey everybody, thanks again for listening to Filling in the Gaps. We have a great episode on tap for you this week. Something to do with the Underdark and demons and, well, you'll just have to listen to really figure it all out. But we had a great guest as well, TallSquall, absolutely a wealth of knowledge from the D&D side of things. You will also notice something about this episode. It sounds like Rich is recording in a porta potty, and that's because he was kidnapped and he still is committed to the show and wanted to make sure, and that was about the only place he could record. Or he had a webcam mic pick up instead of his regular mic. So, with that being said, just bear with us for 1 week. We hope you enjoy it. There's still plenty of fun to listen to, and we hope you have some great ideas come from this as well. So, with that being said, check us out, Filling in the Gaps.
Welcome to another episode of Filling in the Gaps. My name is Rich from the Heartland State of Ohio, joined as always by my bestest best friend, Cameron. That's right, Sarah, I said it. You don't listen to this podcast, so you don't know. But if you guys are listening, this is a guest episode, so you guys know the drill. Stop your cars, stand to your feet, pick open the bathroom stall, close whatever else is on your desktop, stand to your feet, everybody. We are welcoming the one and the only TallSquall from D&D Fitness. Just give it up.
Hey, how you all doing? It's great to be here. I'm super excited to get to play around with you guys.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
So I know Cameron's been freaking out all week, really all month, about you joining the show. Why don't you tell really myself and the rest of the people listening who you are, what you do, and where we can find more of you at?
Basically, I am a D&D player, a streamer. I stream for charity on my own channel. I've been running The Vice there for charity now for almost 2.5 years. We're on episode 108, moving forward. We've raised about $15,000 for a dozen or more different charities.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so really excited about that. We've had some amazing cast moments and great people who participated. Some wonderful artists have worked with us to do some art for our campaign. Cole McGinnis, who does some of the music for Critical Role, their big art reel, has done some commissioned pieces for us as well. And we are super happy with everyone who has donated their time and talent to help us raise more money for charities and sort of up our game in our production and stuff. So that's sort of how I got started in it. But also along the way, I've been a cast member on lots of different shows, including Learn by Play over on the D&D channel for 3 seasons over there. And then on the Scraticus Academy, I'm doing a great stream over there right now, a Cypher system campaign over there that I just adore, a big giant sandbox world that Alice has put together over there. But then sort of out on Twitter, a lot of people know me from hashtag D&D Fitness, which was just this weird little thing where last summer I was like, hey, let's all do push-ups on Friday and we'll roll some dice and to see how many we do. And it sort of grew from there, from me rolling up challenges every week to then it getting so big, and also just because work and life, I knew I couldn't keep up with it as much. So it just became a hashtag where everyone can join in, talk about, whether they're a beginner, they're advanced, they're in the middle, they're returning to fitness, they've been, running miles and miles every day their whole life, whatever. Just throw the hashtag D&D Fitness on there so we can all sort of support each other. And I mean, it's amazing to see not just the people who I've been able to help out, but people helping each other who know about yoga. We've got a whole group of people doing yoga. I personally don't do CrossFit, but we've got a lot of folks who do CrossFit who've got a lot of conversation going on there. So yeah, I mean, hop on hashtag D&D Fitness. No matter what you're doing, if you're getting up and moving, we'd love to hear your story and your journey that you're taking.
It's beautiful, man, just to see like how, because how collaborative this community is naturally. And so then to see everybody sort of help support one another and lift one another up the saying "a rising tide raises all ships" is sort of the same scenario here. It's just like everybody is sort of setting a new bar for everybody along, and it's just like a leave no man behind kind of scenario. It's a really beautiful thing to see, and so that's what like sort of inspired me and said, man, I got to get this guy on here. It's going to be great. So,
well, awesome. Well, hey, for anybody out there who's new to Filling in the Gaps, first off, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Okay, what we're about to do in just a few minutes is we're going to take actually 4 D20s for this episode. We're going to be rolling them and mashing together whatever we get into some kind of brainstorming idea. We've gotten Zombie Apocalypse Candyland. We've gotten an aboleth that's destroying a floating town. All sorts of crazy stuff. Myself, today I'm rolling for the scenarios. Cameron will be rolling for our themes. And then our guest, TallSquall, will be rolling one of each, and he can pick from that whole bountiful buffet of dice whatever theme and scenario he wants to pick.
Awesome. Well, I have a question for both of you, real quick, before we get started.
Yeah, of course.
Shall we roll?
Let's roll.
Do it. It's gonna be awesome.
All
right.
That's so great.
Now, let me ask you, TallSquall, your opinion on this, because I usually trigger a lot of people. Today, I'm rolling a Magic the Gathering health counter dice as a dice. I've been called all things short of heretical for this. Any opinions?
No opinions because I don't know exactly what that is.
Perfect. You heard it here, folks.
No, you're not getting out of this, Rich. You're not getting out of this. Hey, TallSquall. It's a counter dice, which means that it counts in a spiral down the dice. It's like it starts at 20 at the top, and then as it works its way down and around the D20, it's counting downwards. Like it's one half is 1 through 10, the other half is 11 through 20.
Gotcha. So it's not that any two opposite sides add up to 21.
Exactly. Like, for me, I'm no mathematician, but I feel like it's still got to be random, right? Anyway, you know what? I'm sorry. I always dive us into the weirdest conspiracy theories. Let's go ahead.
Well, what I tell you as being a mechanical engineer, it's much easier to weight that dice to be a cheater dice because you just need it to not have the center of balance be around the exact center. And as long as that, then it would always fall to the high numbers instead of the low numbers.
Rich confirmed awful person and cheater, and just an absolute yes,
totally calling it out there. So yeah,
I see how it is.
But I am sure that your die has been perfectly 100% like precision balanced to be Nat's ass
Perfectly
dead on
fair.
random.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and roll for today's episode, and then we'll see how good this dice actually is. All right, let's go ahead and roll.
Good old fashioned solid. There it is.
Oh, I got some interesting ones.
I got a 9
Nice.
for the scenarios on my end. Cam, what'd you get?
I got a 10 for mine
Okay.
as a bank.
And then TallSquall, what'd you get?
Sorry.
So for scenarios, I got a 14.
Okay.
I'll write
And
that down.
then for a theme, I got an 11.
All right. Ooh. Okay. Cool. Rich, why don't you tell us what these rolls were brought to us by,
Okay,
and then I'll figure these things out.
Of course. Now, today, these rolls are actually brought to us by not only one, but 2 sponsors. One's not necessarily a sponsor, but just a company you should be aware of. First off, good old Libris Arcana Dice. You know them, you love them, and if you use the hashtag or the promo code FITG when you go to their website, you'll get 15% off your first order of dice. Check them out. We've loved them. Hashtag long time. But also, Mr. TallSquall, you approached us today saying that there was a company you wanted to shout out, not because you're sponsored, but just because they're amazing, which I think is, if that's the case, they must be a company worth looking into. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Level Up Dice?
Yeah, I'm rolling my level up dice right here. I have fell in love with them at Gen Con last year and then bumped back into them again at PAX U this year. And I'm rolling one of my semi-precious stone dice, and one of their new things, which I really love, are these True Stone, which are sort of amalgams of different stones, and they are amazing. The company's amazing. Yeah. They give awesome service. They let me sit there for 30 minutes and pick through 2 sets of dice to pick out the exact ones that I had the colors that I was looking for. And even when I couldn't find exactly what I wanted, then went through their drawer to help me find exactly what I wanted for my dice. They are amazing. If you're looking for some special dice for a special reason, I would highly recommend Level Up Dice.
All right, just levelupdice.com?
Yep, levelupdice.com.
All right, check them out, guys. Check them out.
Actually,
Okay,
it might
Cameron.
be a .net, but you'll get there. You'll Google it and you'll find it.
You'll Google it and you'll find it.
Hey, regardless, a dry read on not even an ad, but just like a dry read on that was high quality right there. Both of you guys, I just want to say, y'all did a great job. And I was sitting over here just looking at numbers, forgetting what you rolled, Rich, actually. So what was
I
your
rolled a
number?
9.
You rolled a 9.
Niner.
Okay. All right. TallSquall. You have the ultimate honor of picking from between right here. We have Loxodon as a number 11 or a bank brought to us by Molly. Thanks, Molly. And then the scenarios, we have ourselves a dangerous card game also brought to us by Molly. Hey, it's a 2-tap for you, Molly. Hey, what's going on, Molly? Hanging out in our game this week. Or Deciphering an Ancient Text brought to us by My Little Owlbear. So, of one theme and one scenario, which ones would you pick, my friend?
I gotta say, the idea of a Loxodon and a dangerous card game, kind of like Loxodon's playing poker, could certainly be interesting.
Yeah.
However, I also Deciphering an Ancient Text just got so much cool potential for what could be found in that text. Could be really cool. Or even the bank. Did the bank somehow inherit this text and they're trying to figure out what it is?
Ooh.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Okay, so is that what we're going for? We're going to go bank and Deciphering an Ancient Text?
Yeah.
Let's do this thing.
All right. Well, let me ask you this. So, actually, TallSquall, I'll ask you this question. I usually ask Cameron. When you hear of a bank that has somewhere inside of it this ancient text that needs deciphering, what are you seeing in your mind right now? What are the mental pictures, the characters, the text itself? What pictures are you seeing?
I mean, I definitely this vault, like that, maybe an old ancient vault that gets opened. Something that the bank finds sort of behind, they're renovating or something and find an old vault. And, they're expecting to find, like safety deposit box or something, that all that's in it on this, table is this dusty tome, that it was sealed away behind walls, there. And then, kind of the idea of these folks who, bureaucrat pencil pushers type idea, suddenly being faced with what to do with this text. In my mind, I mean, I think there's a fun way you could go either direction with this. It's sort of almost like, almost sort of like a modern day-ish spin to it. And it's like, this is like, the bank. This is where all of the best liches, keep their phylacteries.
That's
type
what I was
idea.
thinking.
Yeah, that this is like a phylactery bank. It's something really, like where all the big bads keep their stuff because all these adventurers keep showing up and taking it. That they trust their most important stuff to,
So this is an evil bank.
Oh, I think it's an evil bank.
Oh, that's so cool. I never even thought about something like that. That's amazing.
So it's also kind of like a sneak or charm yourself in scenario, or like you all dress up as villains and you sneak your way into this evil bank to make a withdrawal. Dude, that could be nuts.
Well, or I do like that idea, but what if you're the bankers and this is like a holy text? That it's like the good thing in the bank.
So you're talking about maybe a one-shot or a few shot of essentially you playing quote-unquote evil characters.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Or whatever. I mean, maybe, there's a lot of ways to go with it. I mean, I almost kind of see, is it this thing that the first person who goes in there gets an alignment change and they're suddenly good in the evil bank? That what this thing basically changes your alignment. So you're like by yourself at first, and the big thing you need to do is get other people to touch the book. So you finally build your team to then break out of the bank.
Dude, I love this idea. Okay, so we're saying at this point maybe the book is okay. So there's the Book of Vile Darkness, and is it the Book of Exalted Deeds? That's the opposite version of that.
Yeah.
Now, so this, are we in the Underdark? Are we like a bunch of drows and mind flayers and hobgoblins walking around in the Underdark in this bank, or?
Dude, Underdark's out. Underdark is so much fun. There's so much fun stuff to put in the Underdark. I think for sure.
Okay, so
I think,
go ahead,
dude. Well, I was gonna say the reason why, and I just actually lost my train of thought. So now I'm just gonna sort of just swim my way over to the shore and hope that I figure out where that train of thought was for a second there. I think the beautiful thing with this one though is that. Just like we've been doing recently with the past few episodes, is that it's going to be able to create sort of that like solo shot or maybe two shot kind of adventures that are in and out, nice and easy, and be able to sort of have like this fully encapsulated adventure all within this little small world. And then, in addition to that, the Underdark really presents some great options for us because we have like so many, like what TallSquall said, so many different options to pick from. In terms of, you've got different monsters, you've got different like personality types that you're going to interact with as well. What other things are being held inside of this bank? You know, would a Underdark bank work the exact same way as like a standard plain bank or something like that? Like, where do we start? Like inside this bank? Like, or do we start inside the bank or do we start outside? Where would y'all say?
I just wrote this down on my little note sheet here just because I love the idea of it. Of, you know, instead of the thing that everyone does, you meet in a tavern, it's like you meet in a bank.
You meet in a bank.
You know,
you're having a conference call.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think, you know, if we go with this whole, they uncover this vault, you know, and whoever the poor schmuck is, you know, whichever player is the first person, you know, probably some, you know, a goblin grunt, a hobgoblin grunt, and orc. I mean, or maybe just a drow. You know, this sort of middle level person. I'm not going in there. You go in there, and you know, you all but start things off with. You pick up the book and you suddenly realize all the evil things that you've done, and that you are surrounded by the most vile, horrible people, and they are keeping some of the most horrible artifacts and evil artifacts in existence. As you look down at this book and look up at the faces of all these other people who, if they knew what you were thinking, would kill you in a second.
Oh my God.
Dude, what if along with that too, so one thing I was reading about the Book of Exalted Deeds real quick, it actually gives someone who reads it a halo. AKA in an evil bank, a target.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Do you suddenly have to hide a halo?
Yeah, exactly.
Man. Sleight of hand to hide your halo.
Yeah, sleight of hand. Just tuck it behind the hairline. What if when you read this Book of Exalted Deeds, you could have something like a diva or an angel show up and essentially offer you like hey, you know, this book should have killed you, but instead we're letting it spare you because you need to get it out of this. Like, we're limited here, so you've got to get it out of the bank. But maybe also there's some crazy artifacts in the bank, and he says he'll reward you for the amount of damage you do on the way out.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Maybe there's some options just to set off some crazy, you know, even just the classic, bag of holding thrown in a
portable hole.
Portable hole. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question though. You know, in terms of setup of this scenario, right? How would you, as the DM, sort of navigate the situation where one of the players changes alignment? And yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, for me, I think this would be me being evil because I do these things. I would totally have them make. I wouldn't tell them they're starting off as evil. I would have them roll up their characters with their normal, you know, good. Say we're doing a good campaign, you know, neutral's okay, but you know, this is good campaign, and that basically they don't discover their alignment until they are affected by the book.
Oh,
Ooh, I like that.
You know, I mean, it gets that weird. It's that it would be one of those things where you don't want to make it too scripted at the front, but almost that you play the other player characters as NPCs until they touch the book.
And then once they touch the book, because something too with playing in like an Underdark setting or an evil setting is like I have a hard time. I'd love to play a Mind Flayer like character, but sometimes that's hard to do in just a normal we're walking around from tavern to tavern like game. But this is a session where I can totally play a Mind Flayer, and it's fine. Like it's like, hey, yeah, roll up a Mind Flayer, roll up a hobgoblin or a lizard folk or these races you wouldn't normally get to play because
you've always wanted to play a Mind Flayer, Rich?
Oh yeah, dude. They're
really?
They're octopus people, man. That sounds awesome. I can float around.
I never knew that. You should let me run you an evil campaign. I'll run an evil like a 4-shot for you. I'll let you play a Mind Flayer.
There you go.
Nuts.
My dream.
You know what? If they like it, if you get a group of players, you do this sort of as a 1-shot or a 2-shot of this first sort of thing to get out of the bank and sort of escape from whatever Underdark, cities, whatever you're in. It would probably be a city if it's got a bank that's holding these things in it. Are you then like this ultimate team of good that you are? You're like the infiltrators. That you have. You can turn it into a whole Underdark campaign where you can be a Mind Flayer, but you've always got to be hiding that you are the lawful good Mind Flayer. But you can walk into a bar of Mind Flayers or walk into or as whatever. I mean. Whatever. I mean, I would probably be very lenient for whatever monstrous race, humanoid-esque race that people wanted to play.
Absolutely. It just opens something. It opens so much up because you have such like I view it as an accordion. We can squeeze down to 1 to 2 sessions. We can expand out to 6 or 7, or we can make this like a full-on campaign, which also leaves us trails as DMs to go up above the or what is it called again? Just the standard plane. I always forget the names. The surface. The planar. Yeah, the surface world. You get to go up there. You could just go up there, and then now you're having to deal with your players are essentially going like, people hate us up here, even though we're actually good people. And so having to deal with all that. But this leaves us so many threads to play with from that perspective. Now, so getting back to the bank. So, TallSquall, you said running them as NPCs until they touch the book, at which point then they would become a player.
Right.
And is that sort?
I think you do that. You want to do it pretty fast. I mean, because you don't want a bunch of people sitting around. But I mean, whoever I might even roll a die for whoever's the first person. And so it's almost like we start off with the introduce yourself. They say that they're whatever. And then it's like you find yourself holding this book and realize and then basically put. If another person's playing a bugbear, it's like a bugbear comes charging at you. What do you do? Hold out the book. Try to. Their big mission is to try to get people to touch the book to basically assemble the party, and then once you basically get the number of players you have, it's like, oh, that effect doesn't work anymore. So now you've got to do your thing. But I mean, you don't want to leave your party hanging. But I mean, almost as you give people time to introduce themselves, it could be that, often you'll have people say, you're approached by a tall half elf. Bob, introduce yourself. This would be more like, you convince a tall Mind Flayer to touch the book. Rich, introduce yourself.
I like that. Because the first person you roll for, they're like the quote-unquote chosen one. They have this halo. And then everyone else is rushing them because, that's a bad sign. I'm going to rush towards whoever's got this book with the halo around their head. And then you kind of, like you said, turn it on them. Like, okay, the book opens in front of you and you get hit by a flash of light. Why don't you introduce your character?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And so it's very cinematic, too, as well. Like, it really starts to... So that's a really great immersive intro. So my next question then would be, as our players have now established themselves, say for example we've gotten these 4 players in this party, and now they need to exit with the book or something of that nature. So what kind of things can we throw in their way that can provide sort of some like immersive but yet naturally fun sort of things for them to do as they're like exiting the bank?
What are the security systems of an evil bank? So you might think like a good bank, they're going to try to stop whoever's trying to rob them, but generally it's going to be very humane ways of stopping them. But this is an evil bank where they might even, like, if someone tries to steal something or if someone's pocketing extra gold, because that happens. Cause
you've got evil people there.
So they take pleasure maybe in coming up with cruel and unusual ways of stopping thieves.
I think I have a pretty good idea for one way.
Go ahead,
if you will. Scarabs, the little small bugs, like Egyptian bugs.
Mm-hmm.
What if they were scarab coins? And so just like there are marked bills inside of banks and things like that, there are marked scarab coins that, if stolen, activate upon removal from the bank and essentially swarm the thief itself or something like that.
Yeah, it's a swarm of scarabs. So good.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Yeah, I think with that idea of, it's an evil bank with evil people. It's an evil people steal stuff. So I think very much, and it could be even part of this whole, as your party gets together, whoever, party plus one, the evil person who doesn't get turned good, he hits the alarm. And their alarm, they've got an alarm that works 2 ways. Keep people out, but whoever tried to steal something, whatever evil guy decided that this was his day to try to do a little embezzlement, it stops. So it basically turns the whole bank into a death trap.
Yeah, like a lockdown.
I love it.
Yeah, it's like a lockdown mode, but it's not lockdown. No one can get in. No one can get out. It's like lockdown. Anyone trying to get in has just as bad a time as anyone trying to get out. It's not the, it's almost that you've got a traps working in reverse.
Exactly. Yep. Okay, so one thing I'm seeing, hallways with these circular corridors that are sealed off, and those small circular corridors set into the wall, they open up. Do you guys know what carrion crawlers are?
Oh, yeah.
Like giant, huge centipedes that paralyze people when they touch them. They're just swarming into the hallways. So, like, you turn a corridor and you just see these large, like, centipedes just pouring out of the walls. And you either fight your way through or you nope and go another direction.
Well, and
I like that.
On that same note of the, this is evil. They're going to do all the things that evil GMs like to do. So you can do one of 2 things, depending on the level of your party. You either do rust monsters there because, they don't care if they destroy everything on the guy who's trying to steal stuff. Basically, they're a bank for magical items. The rust monsters aren't going to do anything to it. And, depending on your level of your party, you do that.
You might lose everything.
Oh, yeah. Or you do the other one. There's a wonderful monster by Kobold Press called a Dust Eater, which is basically a rust monster for magical weapons.
Oh my god.
That's nasty.
Oh, it's terrible because whenever you hit with a magical weapon, you've got that chance that it's going to start dissolving it.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
What's the CR? What's the CR on that thing?
It's like a 9.
Wow.
Dang.
That's pretty intense.
So what about one thing too? I don't know how we incorporate it. Can we somehow incorporate a volcano into this? I feel like volcanoes scream.
What?
Well,
I love that.
Is that the failsafe? Is that their doomsday thing? Again, magical items. If it's phylacteries and stuff like that, it's like, who cares if they get buried in lava? We did our job. We protected your stuff.
I love.
So worst comes to worst, you flood the place with lava. Fill it with stone.
Yeah, it's like set in like an old lava tunnel that's being like held out by barrier magic, and when it gets to that certain time, they press the buttons and in comes the lava. You got lava chasing the corridors.
Man.
Now, and that would be I love using timers in my games, but that once the alarm goes off, that and again you'd use like a big timer, on your clock or on your phone or something, and been put in like you have 2 hours until the place fills with lava.
Oh my gosh! And then we can add levels to this bank too. So we're not on the first floor.
Yeah,
we're in the basement. Yeah, or like 2 floors down or something like that.
Or do the every hour a level gets filled with lava.
Oh, I love mechanics.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, I was gonna think too. Okay, so I love this idea. I'm just gonna keep throwing this out there just because maybe we could do something with it. What if you start the timer and maybe it goes for like 45 minutes or 30 minutes, and it's just like a timer. You could have, if you're playing with music, you have a siren, but you know that episode of Lost where they don't turn the key, and it gets like super intense, and I'm going to way old shows. It gets super intense, and like the timer starts going crazy, and then it like goes dark, and then it flares red. What if in certain time increments, like there's some kind of system that says, okay, this isn't just a level 1 break anymore. Now this is a level 2, so things need to ramp up even more. So your players are like, oh, we've got a timer. There's a timer. Okay, no big deal. And then all of a sudden it gets to 30 minutes, and like you change the music, you bring the lights down, things get more intense, and you hear like chatter over like the radio, or the siren changes a little bit.
Mm-hmm. What would be like an evil version of like a bank's version of animated armor? Because I feel like there should be some like sentinels that are in there that would activate on like that second level. So like first time we're just dealing with lava, right? And then as the levels progress, then now we're throwing new challenges at them. Like for example, sentinels that are not really afraid of being melted, in other words.
So I was just thinking here for a second, if we're doing this level by level, this is the most prestigious, protected bank in all of the Underdark. So why don't we Alcatraz this? Is the bank on an island in the middle of a lake of lava, and when they set it off, it starts to sink.
I love that.
This is awesome.
It's an island literally held by giant metal chains.
Yep, and it starts lowering it. They start lowering the entire thing into the pool, into the lake of lava. And so,
oh man, I just pictured a bunch of fire giants like all hoisting up the bank itself. Oh man,
dude. Yeah, it was funny because I actually looked at the wrong color the wrong time, and my 14 on the other side was fire giant.
Nice.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. Yeah. And then then you can put. You can fill this place with things that don't mind. Throw fire elementals on the second level.
Mm-hmm.
Or what did I just look up the other day because I used it because I had a whole elemental thing, and there are these great. It's out of one of the new ones.
It's out of Volos. It's the
Myrmidon? Is that what they're called?
It's those. It's the basically the molten stone ones.
Yes, they're like guardians. Stone. I can't remember the name of them, and I'm almost there in the book.
It's you've got the blister coil weirds, which are kind of cool. So yeah, I was thinking the blister coil weirds, which are anthropomorphic brutes formed from water and molten rock, absorbing energy from magical fire. And they've got this great heated body. So basically, whenever you hit it with a melee attack, you take fire damage.
Dude, that's awesome.
By the way, could this bank be run by Drogar, the Underdark dwarves?
For sure.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. They have to be down there. That's almost perfect for them.
Yeah, you were talking about the 7, the Earth Elemental Myrmidons. Depending on the level, you can easily change this around to different ones. Oh, and all of our favorites, because he's they're from the realm of fire. We can throw some flail snails in here.
Flail snails. snails.
We were just talking about that on the Discord this week about what animals we would use what monsters we would use in a baby monster adoption clinic, and flail snail was a definite favorite in that grouping. So,
Ooh.
So I'm also seeing there's a trapper in Volo's Guide to Monster on page 194. It's essentially a living tarp. It's a challenge rating 3, and it just smothers somebody. It's
Nice.
unaligned, so it can stick to like a surface and then fall down and strength check somebody and essentially suffocate them to death. So that's something we can use too. But go ahead.
Okay, just because I was trying to think of something themed that was like your animated armor, and stick with me here. I'm going way out there.
Welcome
Yes.
to Filling in the Gaps.
Think of a gelatinous cube, okay?
boom.
But now imagine it as a giant vault that tries to swallow you and seal you inside of it to suffocate you. That basically you have these living vault that you look down a hallway and it ends in a giant door, and then it starts moving towards you. That it's basically a living vault that the doors open and seal you inside of it, and you've got to basically cut your party member out of a vault.
Dude.
Oh my god! And you could use like sleight of hand checks or stealth checks to turn the knob to like listen for the knob, use perception.
Oh yeah, you've got to pick
like the different
lock.
numbers. Yes. Oh, that's so sick. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, a
a lot.
life or death lock picking check.
So what if so another thing that could go along with that, I'm picturing like not like a vault, but more like one of those like a wall safe. Like they're incredibly heavy. You
Oh, yeah.
put them on a dolly. Imagine that, but it's a mimic inside the safe, but very similar to like a Dark Souls mimic. When activated, it can like spring to life and walk, and it just tries to pick up whichever party member has the book and put it inside itself and walk back to a secure location.
Yeah.
And so now it's not only are we actively trying to get out of the bank, but we're also trying to figure out where our party member is, chase down this mobile little safe that's running around. And maybe it's in cahoots with these larger, maybe these are like those little small safe mimics are maybe minions for the gelatinous vault cube.
Yeah.
I guess would be
A gelatinous vault. Sure.
Gelatinous vault.
Well, here you go. I mean, magic, right? It's a gelatinous cube, but once you're inside, the walls turn to steel.
Oh, that's so evil.
It's like, yeah, because everyone's like, oh, it's a gelatinous cube. Someone gets caught in it, we'll just reach in and yank them out or whatever. And literally, as soon as they're swallowed up, at the end of the turn, the cube turns to steel.
Oh,
And all your party members go, what?
That is literally evil.
You see a large combination
and
lock on the front of it.
Yes, and a massive one. And if there's members of the party reaching inside to grab the player, the steel forms around each of, like, say for example, they have one arm in, and so one member has to pull the lever while the other one has to listen for the numbers being clicked. Oh man, this is good. Oh man. By the way, banks. They also have a lot of really fun stuff like treasure and stuff like that. I don't think that just because you are now aligned good that you are therefore immune to the desire for treasure and gold and things like that as well. Do you think that there are things that we could maybe trap our players with or sort of entice our players away from the main goal? Like what like it's very, very hard to do in one shots because people are just like go get job done, but what could you sort of dangle in front of the players to make them go, ooh, that looks fun over there, or I want to go gather these jewels?
I think what you could do is everything is stacked against you. There's no way that this party of bank workers are getting out of here without literally arming themselves. So they also all work in the bank. I mean, maybe you do a quick chart of what does each player know about, and maybe it's a random roll of what each player's knowledge is of. Okay, there's a wand of fireballs here. Well, we're in the middle of lava lake. That's not going to. I mean, I was even thinking a little bit with like those flail snails, because flail snail shells. I love to have being a thing that my party members have to harvest and use for something else because of their magic abilities? I mean, is it that you need to go and kill these flail snails to take their shells so that you can use the shells as boats across the lava lake?
Yes.
Or whatever. And that they've got to go get these things, that let them formulate a plan, give them all these parts and pieces and say, you tell me, how are y'all getting off the island? I mean, this is one of those, DM doesn't need to have the solution. It's here are these, each person knows of 2 pieces of treasure randomly rolled. Let them
It's like
MacGyver their way out of it.
Yeah, we're making them MacGruber. It's like we're just here's a toothpick and a cucumber. Figure it out.
So if I can piggyback off that real quick, this was something I just thought of it when you said that. What if, and this could be even the intro to the session as you're going to the safe or whatever. This could be part of your character introductions. Maybe you give each one of them a job, and one of them is like the inventory labeler or categorizer, something like that, which essentially just turns into a weird, like, essentially another word for torturer, because they capture a lot, like some hero, and he's got to go through and figure out from this hero what every item does. So you tell him, like, hey, well, there's these items that haven't been labeled yet, but you know what they do, so you can go get those. You have another one who is maybe a security guard, so as he's walking, you can tell him a few things to be like, to know, like hey, these animated armors, or this,
or better yet, you could do even like the security guard might know the perfect layout of the location, and maybe the first floor is locked down when you get back up there, but the security guard might know of a emergency exit for higher priority evil beings or something like that. Maybe up towards like a spire at the top of the bank or something like that too.
Ooh, okay. So
sorry to cut you off, Rich, by the way.
No, that was it. I was leaving for the rest of you guys at this point.
So I always like, especially if you're going to whenever I hand a player something, I always like to make there be a price. And I'm thinking for each piece of this information, it takes 10 minutes off the clock. If you cash in, you give them some freebies, but then they each can, if you want to go rely on your evil knowledge, knowledge from your previous alignment, more than welcome to do that. It's going to cost you 15 minutes off the clock, or 5 minutes, or whatever.
That sounds so good. Plus, that could keep the game moving too. Instead of you having to move through more hallways to get there, you can just say, hey, if you want this item, you know exactly where to get it, how to get it, but it's still going to take some time off the timer. Right.
Yeah, it basically makes it's almost as though you can try to play this on your own, or you can auto get it, but it's going to cost you this much time.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, I dig the hell out of that. That's pretty awesome.
That also, that idea of finding treasure might make some of those things, like, let's say you see that walking mimic, like, safe, or that slime safe, like, those things might actually be a target as well as a deterrent, because if you kill it, you then get whatever's inside of it, and maybe you have it roll on a loot table or something.
Yeah. It reminds me of a treasure goblin from Diablo, like where it'll just pop up randomly at times, and you just sort of drop your entire mission and say, murder that thing, because there's some really good loot coming out of that guy. So I definitely like that. Is there anything that could extend their time? Maybe some things that could stop the descent of the bank into the lava? By the way, it's just an insane image that's in my mind right now of what's actually happening in this like whole story. It's kind of sick. So,
I think both ways. I mean, that you almost reward that like inspiration. Of course, I'm a mechanics person. I like having mechanics. I mean, oh, dude, let's do it an easy one. Every time you roll, if you roll a nat 20, you get 5 minutes.
Nice.
Boom. Yeah, that's a perfect little just reward. Like, rolled well. There you go. I'm trying to think if this thing's being lowered into lava by chains being wielded by
Well,
fire giants. What?
I think I have a potential solution for that.
Go.
The fire giants are lowering them on chains, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's got to be sort of like what I would imagine maybe a area within the bank itself that's sort of like the boiler room or something of that nature. And so these chains are wrapped around these massive gears powered by steam or whatever it wouldn't be dwarven technology, it'd be Drogan or I can't pronounce
Drogar.
it.
Drogar?
Yeah.
Drogar.
Drogar technology. So, those chains are like wrapping around these giant gears and things to that nature. And so what you could do is maybe one of those players that originally started, one of the jobs that you presented to them was maintenance, head of maintenance. And one of the things that they could spend money or spend minutes to get would be to go to or know the location of the boiler room, at which point then they could find a way to potentially lodge something into the chains to stop them from moving and lowering or something like that. It's something I was thinking about.
Can I piggyback off that?
Piggyback on my piggyback. Let's do this thing.
Okay, so what if one potential escape route is flail snail shell to lava pool rowing out? What if another potential option, the riskier one, is you actually go a little bit lower into the maintenance room where those chains are, and if you're quick enough, you can break one of those chains, so this hanging bank, sorry, I lost the word, this hanging bank swings and then slams into the side of the volcano, so immediately, like maybe one or two levels that the players might not ever see, it's just one of those levels that you start marking off, like to let them know this thing's filling up. Maybe those immediately fill up, so you're immediately in like danger zone, but you don't have to row across the lake. Now you just have to get to the top and crawl onto the surface.
Well,
that would be really, really sick.
And I hate that I'm channeling my old Vanilla WoW days, but I totally am.
No, do it.
Or you go up the chains, like in Blackrock Spire.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I mean, that's how you used to get to Molten Core, was to run down those darn chains and then through that the tomb that was suspended in the middle. I mean, is it almost that same idea that, as you're sinking, there's a certain point where the bank is too low, you've got to go up the chains, which means that your last encounter is with a fire giant. I mean,
and you're on a no safety rails chain over a pit of lava.
Yeah.
Oh man, the danger is peak right there as well. I had another one, and this is just the cinematic portion of me that's thinking right here. Maybe getting to the spire at the top of the bank, and as it sort of like descends into the lava, it starts to crumble and break. And then using those flail, this is maybe more just a player idea, but using those flail snail shells as snowboards going down a crumbling building or bank itself, and skiing.
Hello.
Yeah, I know. I just thought it would be a cool idea, but now I'm just thinking that's like a player idea. Like I don't know how you set up a player as a DM to do something like that.
Yeah, no, I mean I think that's there's give them grappling hooks, give them. Do they come up with some clever idea to, get up to an upper balcony and shoot, instead of going up across the chains, that they shoot a rope with a grappling hook across? I mean, do you have a wizard who has fly? Whatevers. Are there air elementals here that you could, if you get someone who charms an air elemental to carry you over?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you could
There's just a litany. There's a litany of options to get out.
Yeah,
in other words,
ballistas that fire. You tie a rope to a ballista bolt and you shoot it, into the side.
This bank is going to have some types of big siege defenses on it. So, I mean, I hate to do WoW again, but yeah, do you ride a ballista bolt across? I always love my reduce and large. Reduce down a party member, tie them to a ballista bolt, and shoot it across.
Shoot them. Yep.
Oh man, that's amazing.
I do the old Ant-Man trick, man.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Even going off to maybe there's I'm reminded of like the Dark Souls scenes, how those, those Lothric demon angel things would carry you to your next location when you get there. Maybe there's some kind of flying creatures, flying dire bats, flying something. And if you grab onto them, you can kind of, with an animal handling check, maybe steer them to the side.
Absolutely.
I have something to ask. So the ancient tome, it has we're speaking in regards to the good tome, right? Like it's the purifying thing. What about interactions with that? What kind of things could our players earn from that book besides the fact that they were just made good? Was the mission giver the angel or omnipotent being that was sort of cursed the book to make people good? Was that just the mission giver, or were there actually benefits of that book outside of that?
I mean, if we want to really do the exalted deeds, I just brought it up in D&D Beyond so I could take a look because I'm not familiar with it. But I mean, we can always homebrew this a little bit because it's a lot of roll stuff on the legendary tables.
That is literally, I mean, that's all we do pretty much is just homebrew 24/7. So it's a tables based book. Is that what you're saying?
You get 2 major beneficial properties and 2 minor beneficial properties. I know on that table one of them is that you get wings, just because I've had someone roll them before. Which
that's so sick. Well, all I'm saying is that, like, I think that there's some really cool story elements that maybe for example, like the players aren't really knowing what to do or go somewhere. This could be kind of the helping hand. If it is in fact that we're not going like a pure evil DM route where we're just like, you figure it out.
Maybe is that the thing that you use to empower your players to tell a crazy creative story? Is pitch me an idea, I'll tell you how much time it costs for the book to make that happen for you.
Ooh, I like that.
I mean, it's a book of miracles.
Yeah.
Right?
You're like, just Kobe. Boom. That was easy.
You give them
them
the tools to kind of write in their own entry into the choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
Because everyone's been there was like, look, I don't want matches or the flashlight. I want a flamethrower. Why doesn't this book give me that option?
Right.
I really like that a lot.
And that's the thing is I think it can't do a direct teleport us out of here, but it can, that's the thing is, it's you give me a creative thing that, this book can do. I mean, it can't send down an army of angels to come and rescue you, but, it'd be the, if I only had if I only had, what's it from The Princess Bride? A Hellfire cloak or whatever it was that he used. Oh, I picked one up at Miracle Max's. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, even
I like that.
What is
Well, it goes
cleric spell
into
too.
Sorry, Rich.
I was going to say, isn't there a cleric spell that's something along the lines of, like, you pray to your god, it's like a level 3, or maybe it's like a level 5 spell?
Well, yeah, you're able to, it's a percentile dice that you roll. It's divine intervention.
That's what
you have to roll under your level. And I think you get it at level 10. That at level 10, if you roll a percentile dice under your level, so you never have more than a 20% chance, then on 100-sided dice, if you roll a 10 or lower, your god intervenes.
So could we play off of that? Nah. I don't know if we want to play off. I think the idea, too, of just let me know, me as the DM, let me know your idea, and I'll let you know how much time it takes off. I like that a lot better.
Well, it goes back into TallSquall's idea of the inspiration. So it really does, in a lot of cases when you play D&D, obviously a player-created inspiration is great, but now as the DM, we can sort of manufacture those moments to allow them to say, hey, here's your chance. Do something like that you find really creative, find really, really fun and engaging, and you'll equally be rewarded for it. Like, for example, if my players were like, I want to summon down a large army or something like that, they didn't say what size of being that army had to be. They could be, 10,000 pixies or something like that flying down and messing with one of the fire giants and like sort of tickling it or something like that. Just something whimsical that juxtaposes it, that's like a stark contrast to this like fiery hellscape world that they're in. But all those things though lead back to what you said: inspiration. How can we sort of make this game more creative, more fun? I like that a lot.
If I only had a portable hull, or if I had a portable hull, I'd throw it in this bag of holding and toss it at a fire giant, or whatever.
Jeez Louise, man, that's insane.
This is good.
I think. Well, first off, that is a hell of a mission, man, and that honestly could be a really good one shot. You could probably get that in 3 hours.
Oh yeah,
easily. You get in, out, and sort of prep for the next adventure. So let's talk about the ending then. Do we end always on a final battle? Is the end a chase, like dramatic chase scene? Like, what sort of makes it to where it's not an anticlimactic sort of end for the party itself?
I mean, I think you got a couple options. Certainly, I think the battle with a fire giant to escape. That's the last thing that you've got to get past is the fire giants. Like the escape from Alcatraz. It's not just getting out of the prison. It's that you then have to swim across the bay and there's great white sharks. So I think there's that sort of brute force method. I always love a great skill challenge. So the whole idea of somehow, hey, we're not going up, we're going down. We're going to go foul the chains, or we're going to somehow, or, very easily would be a skill challenge of, rowing across a boiling lake of lava on the back of, on flail snail shells. I mean, that's not going to be a battle. That's going to be a skill challenge. Tell me how make this raft and then, navigate it across these sort of erupting bubbles of lava and all that type of stuff.
Oh yeah, there's waves coming from the building being lowered. You've got these ballistas and stuff firing at you, and maybe fire giants throwing rocks.
Yep. And then you've got all of that creative stuff of the, tying your party member to a ballista, a giant ballista shaft, or the snowboarding down the side. I love that. I think you can. I mean, is there you disarm the system? Do you somehow trigger that it was a false alarm? Oh, we just need to if we can get to the alarm panel,
right,
and make it seem like it's a false alarm.
That plays into what you were talking about earlier with levels, right? So once it gets to a certain time threshold, the bank itself recognizes that, hey, this thing right here, we need to elevate to tier 2 alarm status right now because we haven't been provided the signal to alleviate the alarm.
Yeah, in other words, stand down.
Yeah, right. And so if your party was capable of figuring out where that was, maybe your party was the owner of the bank, or one of the members of the party was the owner of the bank or something like that, and they were able to tap into their evil energy, they could go find maybe the security room protected by this monster and that monster or something like that.
This sounds just like the Death Star Han Solo scene of like, hey, all clear, nothing wrong. Who is this? Don't worry, we're all clear. System all clear.
Yeah, no,
we're good to go.
I was just sitting here of like, okay, what's something ridiculous I could suggest? But I mean, totally. As a DM, I would go nuts for this. It'd be like, use the book. If only it was someone's birthday today. They're serving cake in the bake, they're serving cake in the break room, and we go and basically pour everyone's drink over top of the thing and turn everyone good, and we take over the bank.
I mean, that's one of those things where you're like,
we basically throw the book in the keg and then start serving beer to everyone alcohol, but now it's like holy alcohol and now everyone in the bank is good. I'd be like, yes, and you win.
You've turned the beer into just water, and everyone feels great.
You've changed my 3-hour session into a 20-minute one, but I gotta tell you, it was amazing.
Oh, I totally at that point then, okay, let's go take over the underworld. And then you're just, you're off script, and it's like, okay, what do you and your army of inherently evil beings who are now good.
And armed to the teeth.
And armed with, everything. How do you change the
man.
world?
Jesus,
You've
it's
got
like
the
the
blackmail
Suicide
of
Squad.
every lich, the phylactery blackmail for every lich in the realm.
Oh yeah.
Jesus. Oh man, this thing could get out of hand. Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah, if only it was someone's birthday and they were having cake in the break room.
So, I think that is like a good overall feel for everything, right? Like that gives us a great beginning, a great motivation for our players, especially, the lava burning their butts, but a great many different like exits for the players themselves. So here's what I say to y'all. Rich, would you like to give us a summary? And hey, TallSquall, would you like to do what we call the synopsis?
Okay.
Are you familiar with this at all? Have you had a chance to
I
hear a
listened
synopsis?
to the one or parts of the one. So is it, can I pick any scene? Or is
you can literally do anything you want, even if it's brand new to the story and it's just an idea you're coming up with off the top of your head right now. Go for it. And by the way, the one you listened to was someone singing. You don't have to sing. It's okay.
Okay.
But I'll give you some time while I do a quick summary of the idea from this episode. So I give you some time to think. For those guys listening, the essential idea is while your evil janitor or evil security guy, whatever, your evil characters were just going about their usual business at the bank. Something happened, they tripped over something, knocked something over, and all of a sudden the Book of Exalted Deeds has turned them good, and they have to escape. Sirens are going off. There's all sorts of off-the-wall, evil, maniacal security systems trying to keep them at bay, and somehow your party now has to escape the prison using the Book of Exalted Deeds and whatever artifacts they can find before it's completely submerged in, of course, a volcano of lava. If they're able to escape, they'll be rewarded, or they could throw a birthday cake party and take over the entire world. Whatever route they see out. But TallSquall, what are you picturing in your mind? What's your synopsis?
I always like beginnings and setting the stage. So I think we'll go with that.
Okay.
All right.
So I would look to whoever my player was at first and go, man, it's been a hell of a day. You're sure those other guys did something to rig this once again, so you picked the short straw, and you've got to go in through this old, dirty, dusty hole to see what the hell is in this old vault. I mean, why do we have to do renovations on this bank anyway? It's not like it's not the most secure, most used, most prestigious bank in all of the Underdark. But no, they wanted to go and expand someone's office upstairs, and then there was this. So, here you are, as you bend down and start to crawl through this long borehole that was made through the wall into this old vault that you discovered. You come out, the air is dusty. It smells of sort of old mold and mildew. And you're expecting to find whatever your other vault in this bank looks like. Safes, drawers, places to secure things, but it's just smooth walls and a pedestal sitting in the center. As you go in, you stand up and brush yourself off your small goblin body and stand up on your tiptoes and to look on top of it, you see a book. Now, this is a magic bank. You know some of the most dangerous spell books and tomes anywhere have been collected and kept here. But this book's different. It's clean. And it's shining and gold. And as you approach, you hear this heavenly song in your ears. And you can't help but step forward. And as you reach out and lay your hand on it, you feel every mean and evil thought drain from your mind as your once evil persona fades away and fills with goodness and hope. Rich, introduce us to your character.
My character is Two Claw, the goblin. He's named Two Claw because he lost his one claw.
Oh, man. TallSquall, that was a dunk. That was a slam dunk. Holy. You were like windmilling, and then you went behind the back, through the legs, Vince Carter, boom. And it was incredible. Oh, that was awesome. Man.
I had a blast, you guys. This was fun.
Yeah,
was it? Did you? Okay, we always are hoping that people that come on, we just, because it's not like any other D&D podcast out there, really, and so we just, want to tell a story. So I'm glad you had a great time. That's awesome.
Hey, dude, we created an evil bank on a lake of lava as it sinks, and suddenly you're the four good guys in the middle of pretty much the worst place in the Underdark.
Yeah. Oh, things
that's the thing I love about random
could be
tables.
worse.
Yeah, that's the thing I love about random tables. We literally do not know what we're going to be talking about for the next hour. But seriously, TallSquall, thank you so much. Like, I am so appreciative. I know Cam is giddy that you're able to be here. Once again, where can people find more of you? Tell us a little bit about Vice, about #D&D Fitness, just where people can find you after this.
The best place to find me is basically as TallSquall. I am TallSquall pretty much across all of social media. I got lucky that nothing else there, other than there is something called a squall jacket that comes in a tall size at Land's End. But otherwise, pretty much if you Google TallSquall, it's me. You will find me as TallSquall, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. My channel for Twitch is TallSquall as well. So pretty much that's the quickest way to find me out there. If you come by and say hello at any of those places, let me know that you found me here. And I would say if you get a chance to come and do this, it's awesome. Or do it with your friends. What a fun activity just to sort of get your creative juices flowing.
Really, yeah. That's kind of TallSquall at the end of the day. That's what we hope to be. Is we always hope to, just for the person that's seeing D&D or any kind of tabletop role playing game, is something that is like sometimes like an insurmountable mountain, like just this massive thing in front of you. We just want to help them pick at the side so they realize that it's really not that bad, and maybe stoke the flames a little bit, because we always say that like about 20 minutes into our episodes, people have tuned us out anyways, because they're thinking about their own ideas and what they would do in this world and all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, man, I really do appreciate you being on today. It was an absolute blast. So, Rich, do you want to lead us out, my friend?
Yeah, guys, thank you as always for listening to another episode of Filling in the Gaps. We're not an actual play podcast, but we hope that over the past hour, you've gotten some spark of inspiration so that you can actually play with your friends on your next game night. As always, you can find us at #FitGDND or at FitGNG on our Discord or on our Reddit or on our Instagram or on our Twitter. But as always, we'll be seeing you guys on the next one.